Well, greetings, students. Good to be with you. We're going to be talking about what we left off last week on milling positions outside periphery, as you can see on the screen here. Also, I've included this drawing again in the email I sent you with this link for the video so that you can bring it back up and take a look at it. My recommendation is that you open it right now. Bring out your drawing, take a look at it as I talk about this. We've already done this particular one. We were going counterclockwise, as you see, position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. We'll just basically touch on that just for the sake of Adam, and then we'll go on to doing a clockwise version of this same thing. And that will be the end of this particular video. And then there'll be another one that will come your way as well, doing pocketing. So let's get started with this one. If you'll notice that I have a 1/2 inch carbide end mill up here that I'm going to be using for this periphery. The part is 3/4 of an inch thick, so we'll go a little bit deeper. We're just going to make one complete loop around this thing, and that's all. So let's get started with this. You'll notice that I have the positions laid out for you, position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as I said, and then down here at the lower left, we are going to start ramping into our part at a 1/2 inch in X and Y. So it'll be X minus a half, Y minus a half to get you to this position right here. So that's where we'll start our program so we can G42 in this case, ramp in and go around. All right, so this is basically what this looks like. If we were to look at this thing in 3D, and I would do this, this program, you'll see the end mill come down and it will penetrate to the full depth. If you notice over here on my left, it says 760. So I've come down to 10 thousandths past, and then come over to the end. And if you want to see what that looks like from the top view, you'll notice that I'm right out here. So you can tell we're ramped into G42 because I'm on the right side of my profile as I go around. And then we'll go the next step, which will be up to the radius. And this is where, when you program your next move, position 4, there's going to be an I and J value at position 3, so it knows how far the radius is from the cutter itself, actually from the edge here of itself, of the cutter. So we'll go ahead and we'll continue this, and you'll see that it comes up through here, and then we have a straight line distance in X and Y to get to position 5. So there we go there. And then we go to position 6. Notice that we're going to have an I and J here because the start point is where your I and J will always be. Just like down here. We were here and at our start point, we had to tell the computer how far the arc center was. So the same is going to be the case here, only in this case, you will have actually an I and a J that will have numbers to them. Down here, it was just an I minus, but up here, it's going to be an I and J to get to the center of this radius. And we'll talk a little more about that later. Okay, so then we come up to position 6 at the top of the part, come over to 7, come down, and notice now it's going to ramp out at G40 and come back to where we began, down here at X minus 500, Y minus 500. So now what does this look like as far as NC code is concerned? Well, just before we do that, we need to create a triangle here. And the triangle is going to be starting up here at position 4, come straight down, and then straight over. So I could draw that in here for you just so you can sort of see it. And I'll trim this off. And now you can see this right triangle right here. So the right triangle has 60 degrees right in here, right? And you already know the radius. What's the radius? Well, the radius is 1 inch. So you're going to be using sine and cosine to figure out where position 4 is with respect to x0, y0 down at the bottom left-hand corner. Up here, it's the same kind of thing. You're still going to have to create a triangle. So you can start right here. And you can bring your bottom part of it right here. And we can finish that triangle out. And there's our next triangle. So in this particular case, we're going to have an I and a J. Remember, the I and J is going to represent where the arc center is, right? So you'll notice that when we are here and we go to here, we're going to give an arc center that's going to have this value here. And if you do the trig properly, you'll end up with what I give you here right now. This will be 1.299, and this down here will be 0.750. To get up here, we're just going to command an I minus 1 inch, J0, to start here and to get up to here, position 4. So you'll have to figure out these two triangles here with sine and cosine, but you will get these values for this up here. All right, and if you look down here, you should be getting these values if you do your trig right. That should be 0.500 right there. So that means that you only have a ½ inch here and a ½ inch there to make your 1 inch radius. So when you figure this triangle out, that's what that should be. And then up here, if we were to measure from there to there, you should have 0.8660. So if you do your trig, you will get these values as I've shown you in class. I'm going to get rid of these right now. But this is your triangle right in here. Two triangles that you have to solve in order to be able to get this right. Okay, so then the question is next is, what does this look like as far as code is concerned? So if I were to bring my code up here, this is what it would look like. And let me see if I can get this thing a little bit smaller so I can move it over. And let me just expand this code a little bit so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, that'll help there. All right, so let's take a look at this now and see what we start out with here. We're going to be starting at x minus 500, y minus 500. So if you look up here, and we put in our end mill here, this is a 0.500 diameter end mill. So you'll notice here that we're going to be starting at those values, GOO, x minus 5, y minus 5. Notice that the spindle is turned on here. It's going clockwise at 2,000 RPMs, and then it rapids over to that position while the spindle is still at home position. Then the G43, Z.1, H1, D1, we know that H1 is the length offset for that end mill. And the D value here is the diameter. And since it's full comp, and we're using G41, G42 in its full meaning, we know that we have to have at least compensation of half the diameter of the cutter. So that would be 250 thousandths minimum for G41, G42 in this case. All right, so the next thing, Then we're telling it to come down to Z minus 0.760 at 15 inches a minute. So it comes down below the surface of this part at 760, and then we're going to begin to come in with our G42 right there. So now, let me go ahead and start this program one more time here. And if we look at this, we are now already in compensation. Right there we are. If I make another move, whoops, I'm sorry, right there we are. Okay, so if I make another move, that's where we are now, and make another move here, it comes over to the far right. So it's going to be 650, right? And it's going to be Y0. Let's see if that's true with our program up here. Right there, Y0 and X 6.5. Okay. And then we go to our next position, which I said you would be using the I and J value to go to position 4. So let's see what that looks like. So Y 2.6726, that's right here, we're there. Notice that the next value here is GO3 counterclockwise, X6, Y 3.5387, I minus 1.0, J0. That's how far the arc center is per the drawing. From here to there is an I minus 1. And J, of course, is on this plane, so it's J0. All right, next move. We come up to position 4, and that position 4 is right there. All right, and then we have to command a straight line distance from there, which is actually what this is. I'm sorry. This is this distance going from here to there. So from position 4 to 5, it is Z01, X 4.683, and Y 4.299. All right, the next move, we come up here at the end of that move, and we are ready to begin this arc right here from 5 to 6. And this is it right here. GO3, X 3.933, Y 4.5. And notice that the values that I gave you here are what is actually here. Let's see if that's true. We said that from here to here was 750 when we do our trig, and from there to there is 1.299. Well, if we look at our program, there it is. So from here, where is the arc center? Well, it's going to be an I minus, right? Come over this way because we're going to the left. So that's an I minus 750. And then from up here down to here is a J minus 1.299. All right, so that gets us there. All right, so then the next move, I don't know what happened there. Let me do this again here. All right, we are right there. The next move then is to go straight over to our X0. So if you notice here, GO1, X0. So it's going to come straight over, right to there. And then it's going to come down to Y0, right there. And then we're going to G40 out, X minus 0.5, Y minus 0.5. So let's see. So there it comes. There it comes. It's ready now to ramp out at the G40, right? Let's see what that does. And there it is. It goes back down to there, and that ends the program. So your program should look just like what I have here. So then we go GOOZ.1. We come 100 thousandths at the top of the part to clear it. and then G00, G49, H0, Z0. It cancels the offset and cancels the cancels the length offset and brings the spindle right here to home position, Z0. And then M30 is end of program rewind. All right, so that's what this program, your program should look like. You'll have to do your trigonometry here to be able to get this right. If you've already done this, which most of you should have already done it, you won't have to do it again. But I wanted to review this with you before we go on to the next exercise. All right, so there is another exercise that I have, and this time it is going to be going clockwise. So we're going to start at the same place, x minus 5, y minus 5, but now we're going to go clockwise. So you'll look in your email that I sent you, and you will pick up a drawing that has it clockwise. So we're going to get that opened up here. It should look like this, and position 1 down here should be here. Now position 2 is up here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to position 1. Again, we're going to use a 1/2 inch end mill. The only thing different this time is we're going to be going in a clockwise direction, just like I say up here, milling positions outside periphery clockwise. And we will see that our I's and J's are going to be different than what they were when we were going counterclockwise. So the values here are still the same. In other words, you're still going to have to figure out the trig for this one. And I'm going to draw that in again. So you will still have to draw your hidden triangle here. And for down here, it's going to be the same thing. You'll draw your triangle. So there's your 2 triangles. When you do your trig properly, you should end up with this, as I said earlier, 1.299. Let me shrink that down a bit. It's a little bit big. Okay. So your trig functions are going to be the same, sine and cosine. You're still going to get the same values you had before, but your I's and J's will definitely change when we do this. All right, there you go. So with that in mind then, let's go and see what this would look like as far as the machining operation is concerned. So let's begin. It's going to be a 1/2 inch end mill, as it was for the other one. We're going to start down here at the lower left-hand corner at x minus 5, y minus 5. We're going to ramp in, and we're going to go in a clockwise direction. There's the ramp in. Notice where the positions of your end mill, they're right on target with the points. Notice that. Right in line, right at the tangent point, okay? There it is there. I'm going to come down to the bottom. We're offset, just like we're supposed to be. And then we come back to our end position and we ramp out, and that's the end of the program. What does this look like in code? If we look at this in our code, think I had the wrong one here. Let me redo this here. I have the wrong machine on this one. All right, here we are. And we have in here our 0.500 end mill. And first thing that's going to happen is we're going to come down here to the lower left, as I said, GOO, x minus 0.5, y minus 0.5, just as in the previous example. You're going to be using your G43 again, okay, D1, H1, right? And then you're going to ramp, you're going to tell it to feed down to Z minus 760 again, just like previously. And then we're going to go with the G41. Notice this time it's G41 and not G42. Why is that? Because we are coming up here and we're going to be at the left of the profile now. So we're going to be climb milling now, whereas down here when we were coming across, we were conventionally milling. So this time G41 is cutter comp left, so we're staying to the left of the profile all the way around. So G41 ramps into X0, Y0, and we stay down where we are, and we command the D1, because we have to remember that that D1 is going to be in the register on the machine, and it's going to be a value of 250, or half the cutter diameter. Then we tell it to go to position 2. Position 2 is right up here, 4.5. Notice the next position is 4.5 in Y and X0. So let's see what that looks like. There it goes. Right there. And now we're being told to go to X 3.933. And that's what it says right there. X 3.933 gets us to position 3. And then the next is going to be where we want to do the arc, this arc from 3 to 4. So that's going to be, this time it's going to be a GO2 value because we're doing clockwise motion. And notice that the end point is position 4. End point is position 4, GO2 x 4.683, y 4.299, I0 j minus 7.5. If you'll notice here, to get to this point, this value in I and j. You should have a 750 in there for the I, and for the j it should be 1.299. Actually, that's not true. The I here is actually no, we're taking it from here. My fault. We're taking it from here. When we're here, we are the arc center is straight down at a j minus 1.5, which is what they're giving you here, and I 0 because we're not moving anywhere left or right here. That was my mistake. So this is correct. From here down to here in a j value is 1.5, just like it says right up here. And then the I value here is 0 because we're not doing anywhere, we're not going anywhere to the left or to the right. All right, so then it will go to the 4.683, which is here, and the Y 4.299, okay, is here. And then we're going to make a straight line angle from here, position 4 to position 5, and that's this right here, GO1, X6, Y 3.5387. That'll put us at position 5. Now we're going to do another arc. So the arc is going to start right here, and we have to command where is the arc center when we are at position 5, the start point, in I and J. So here it is, GO2. The end point here is going to be at the end of the arc, 2.672 right here. And the X value is going to be X6.5, which we see down here. Now, to get there with the arc values, it's I minus 0.5, J minus 0.8661. All right, so as we said before, I did the trig here for you. 8660 is what it is in the J, right? J minus 8660 or 8661 is close enough. And the I value, you have to move over here, right, a ½ inch in the minus to get to the arc center from here. Move over 0.500. I minus 0.500 right here. So there you have it. J minus 866 up here. I minus 0.5. And then it'll swing around, come down here to the end point, which we gave it right here. Here's the end point. Again, 6.5 and 2.6726 in Y. All right, after that, we're telling it to come down to Y0 or position 7, which is right here. And then we're telling it to go over to X0. So it's going to come from position 7 back to position 1. So that would be X0. And then we're telling it to go from here back to our start point, which is X minus 5, Y minus 5. And there it is, G40, X minus 5, Y minus 0.5. And then we tell it to wrap it up to Z.100 off the face of the part, and then GOO, G49, H0, Z0, M30, end of program, rewind. All right, so what I would like you to do is I would like you to write this program, and basically you can use the program that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the one for the counterclockwise. I'm going to give you the code. I'm going to send that to you along with the drawings, and you will have that as a reference, okay, to work on this particular one, but only you're going to have to change the values because you're going to be going clockwise this time instead of counterclockwise. So I'll send that information to you, and I'd like you to work on that and see what you come up with. And in our next video, I will show you what those values should be, so you know if you're on track or not. And then our final video that at that time is going to be how to do pocketing. And I'm also going to send you a drawing on pocketing, so we'll be able to work together on that. On Tuesday at 6 o'clock sharp, we're going to be doing a Zoom meeting, which we will be discussing some of that pocketing, of doing the inside pocketing function, as we said. And we may even get into some other things concerning outside peripheries with angles. Okay, so that's it for now. I'll be talking to you soon. Have a good day.